Who's ready for the best fucking horror podcast in the world? It's my bloody podcast. It's December 20th, and it is a bloody few days before Christmas time right now. I'm Bryan Kluger, and I am joined by an amazing person. Masked Man, he's a killer. He is puts on that Santa Claus suit and goes chopping people up with the axes. It is a man from Denton. He knows movies. He knows horror. It is Preston Barta.
You're Bryan Kluger right now. Will you be something else later?
I sure as hell will. I don't know, but I know we will all be damned if we don't.
I'll
Uh,
be goddamned.
God damned. That's right. December 20th, 5 days until that big old Santa man slides down the chimney and just has sex with all of us. I can't wait. I don't know how they do it over there because I'm Jewish, but is that how they do it, Preston? I don't know.
Like Charlie in It's Always Sunny, right? Or is that Mac's mom? I can't
I
remember.
think
I think it
that's
was
Max.
Mac's mom.
Yeah, that's so good.
What? Santa Claus doesn't do that? It doesn't sleep with your mom?
Yeah, that's what I thought he does. Who knows? You know the drill, folks, on My Bloody Podcast. We've done a lot of episodes. We're going to talk about a horror movie called The Damned, which is releasing. It's a brand new movie called The Damned. It is set in the cold ass tundra of Iceland. It takes place long ago, and we have the director coming on the show this week to talk about the movie. Very excited about that. Of course, we'll get some news. You know the drill. You know the drill, folks. It's Preston and Bryan Kluger here. We are missing right now
Yeah.
Chelsea Nicole, the third to this tricycle here, but she might come in later for the interview. I know she's real busy.
Yeah. With the magic of editing, maybe she
Yeah,
might join us.
maybe. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, it's horror-filled Christmas here. Before we get into all that, I have to. I know Preston's favorite movie of all time is Jurassic Park. And a while ago, since we're movie critics and stuff like that, we're in some of the critics guilds and organizations. We get some fun stuff a while ago for the movie Nosferatu. Robert Eggers, the director, sent us critics a $100 gift card to the NBC Universal Store, and I guess it was geared to buy Nosferatu gear.
Yeah. Which right here.
Yeah,
Focus. I'm wearing a Focus Features Moving Pitches hat.
right. And so a bunch of us critics got this $100 gift card from Eggers, and it linked. There was a link to buy merch from the NBC Universal Store, and I think it took us to the Nosferatu part. But me getting there, there were a couple of items that I wanted of the Nosferatu gear that were already sold out. So I tried and figured it out like, whoa, wait, can I use it on anything in the Universal NBC store? Which there's a lot of Universal movies and NBC TV shows. So luckily, the gift card worked on anything. And then when we all got this gift card, it was like Black Friday or the day before Black Friday. And everything was like 35% off. So I was looking through the store and I got something that would really make Preston happy. It's from Jurassic Park,
Yeah.
and it's John Hammond's cane. You know, the cane he uses, the old guy in Jurassic Park that has it's like the dinosaur tail cane, and on top of it, it has like the amber with the mosquito inside of it.
Yep.
Yeah, so they made a movie prop of that, like a real one. It's like an expensive
Why
movie.
doesn't everyone have these? I don't know.
Exactly. Though they're expensive as shit, but and it's really hard to find the mosquitoes sucked in the amber. But I got
Is it
one.
a real mosquito?
I cannot tell. I'm gonna show you, and maybe we'll put this on our YouTube channel or on social media for sure. Follow My Bloody Podcast and Blu-ray Dad and Bryan Kluger for to see this if you're listening to it audio wise. But um, this thing is an actual cane, and it's got the dino tail and everything. But I'm gonna show Preston like this. It looks like I don't know, man. What do
That
you
looks
think?
like a mosquito hawk. That's like one of those bigger ones.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
yeah,
I'm guessing this is a fake mosquito, but it's like a large mosquito trapped in amber, and
yeah,
I mean, it's cool looking, right?
yeah,
Do you like it?
yeah. I hope you just walk down your in front of your house to go get your mail every day like that. Just be like,
Yeah.
I gotta have my cane.
Yeah, that's a big ass mosquito. It's like the size of a $quarter almost.
Yeah,
Those Jurassic mosquitoes were crazy. But yeah, that's what it is. That's the prop I got. It was either this or the Barbasol can that Dennis Nedry keeps all the
yeah,
secret dino DNA in. And I just thought this looked cooler.
yeah, yeah.
So
Definitely cool.
yeah, it's cool. But I thought of you though, because I know you like Jurassic Park, so I might
Please
bring it.
put that in your will for me to have when you pass, and I'll
Okay.
enjoy it for like 10 years.
Because that's what we've established. That's how old Preston is. He's always 10 years younger than me. Oh, so good. So I had to show you that because I was real excited that it finally came in. It came in this really cool Jurassic Park packaging. Like it's
Mm,
like all like the images are just like
yeah.
wooden and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool.
A lot of the
Um,
Jurassic Park packaging has been awesome. Even if you go into like a Target and they did like the 30th anniversary last year for 2023, they have like all this retro packaging. The toys aren't always cool, but the packaging looks awesome. Like there's one toy I really want to go get. Speaking of Needry, it's of him chasing down a raptor, but he has giant muscles. And I was like, that is amazing.
he's like the Transformer Dennis Nedry that got juiced up. That's awesome.
Yeah, there was a lot. I think it's just playing with the fact that because I own a few original Jurassic Park toys in their packaging, and there's one, can't remember the name of them off the top of my head, but there's a guy that just looks like he's a roadie for like Van Halen, and he has like a jacket on. He's even a doctor. I think that's the title. I'd have to look it up. But he has his chest exposed. He has some scratch marks, and he's kind of very similar to the raptor guy in Jurassic Park.
Huh. That's cool. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, that's some fun stuff. I went in to go get some Nosferatu gear, sold out. The John Hammond King is not. So now I can walk
Yeah,
around saying spared no expense as I hobble
exactly.
along.
Yeah. I
Hobble
love
along.
the Nosferatu stuff. I like this hat, and I bought two sweaters. One was the Focus Features Moving Pictures one, which it was a cool marketing thing to make it look like it's like the 1920s Focus Features, even though they hadn't been around that long. And I got a Nosferatu one, and the logo is very subtle. And as I joked to you privately, I wore it last night to a church because my brother was playing the other night. And yeah, I wore it into a church and noticed a few pastors noticed the logo and be like, the devil is in this house tonight.
Yeah. Did you just like do your devil horns hands and go Dr.
Yeah.
Satan?
Yeah. Vampire. Yeah.
Vampire.
Vampire. You
That's
will address me as my royal bloodline. Yeah.
so you should just like do that in life, you know? At
So many people, Nosferatu hasn't released yet. It's about to, and the whole world's going to explode with impressions, and
I
we're
think
getting
so.
ahead of the curve a little bit. Like that's what we did with Saltburn. We were ahead of the curve there, and then it
We
exploded quite literally.
it sure did. We sucked that bathwater. Like just Nosferatu Count Orlok sucks the blood. It's crazy.
Yeah,
That would be cool to switch movies just like because there's mention of a vampire in Saltburn,
yeah,
have Orlok go to Saltburn, Barry Keoghan go to Nosferatu, kind of same things happening
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. I think he would. Barry Keoghan's character would just own that house of ruin and dance
Yeah,
around naked.
he sure would. It would be fun to watch. Oh my goodness. Let's
Both
get
of them
into
hang dong.
yeah. They should both hang dong. Who would have the bigger dick in that movie? And the crossover.
Just see Nos Orlok going around waving his tallywhacker.
Yeah, I wonder if like what they look like. We would know what Barry Keegan's looks like, but is Count Orlok's just still like there's no skin on it? Does it have fangs? It's like like a
Man,
killer wiener.
yeah, you remind that reminded me of that joke. What was that movie that's not too great? Bulletproof with Adam Sandler, where
Oh yes, damn it,
he's
Damon
like, you know
Wayans.
how I know this is a '70s porno because the guy's dick has sideburns, and it makes perfect sense with the vampire dick having teeth.
Yeah, it would be great. See, these are the movies we want to make and see. I would watch them
Yeah.
so much. And I wonder after this movie releases if like Saturday Night Live is going to do like a Nosferatu thing.
Mm,
Because you got
yeah.
to think that most of those people have seen it already, but who knows?
Yeah. I could see them putting on like a skin hat and a bald cap and doing the whole thing. Yeah, I could definitely see it.
I would like that. Okay, all right. Let's talk about a little bit of horror news because there's quite a bit of horror news that should be fun to discuss. Most recently, a couple days ago, A24 released a trailer called um, "Death of a Unicorn,"
Yeah.
and it's with Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega. And you think like, oh man, Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd accidentally ran over a horse, but it looks like it's a unicorn, and they try to bring it back to safety, nurse it back to health at this very posh estate. And halfway through the trailer, it turns into a what seems to be is going to be like some unicorns going to be killing people in a brutal way, and
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that it says that the blood of the unicorn can cure cancer. And
Yep.
so people are of course abusing it and then that pisses off the unicorn.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
gonna be like Cabin in the Woods when that unicorn stabs that dude at the end.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this movie. It looks really fun. It looks like very similar-esque to something like Abigail or that first movie. Not what was the Ready or Not. That
Hmm.
it looks very similar in tone as far as comedy and horror and gore.
Yeah.
So I hope it goes that way because Radio Silence walks that fine line perfectly. And I hope they do here. I mean, but everybody loves Paul Rudd. I can give or
Yeah.
take Jenna Ortega, but Paul Rudd is just so great in most things, and I can't wait to see him in something like this. And it looks like the supporting cast looks pretty great, so I'm excited about this. You?
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I thought the trailer was very fun and definitely has that weird uncle vibe that A24 continues to own. And yeah, I think it looks like I could see it playing South by, and I
Okay,
hope it does.
cool. I hope so. Also, I know we've talked about it a little bit, maybe not. Danny Boyle released the trailer for 28 Weeks Later.
Hmm.
It's the third installment of the 28 Days Later, the zombie franchise. It's been a long time. Danny Boyle is back to direct since the first film was released back in was it 2000, 2001.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm excited. The trailer looks unbelievably good.
Yeah.
And there's been so much online about what's happening. There's a moment in the trailer where this really old, very decayed zombie gets up that looks exactly like Oppenheimer himself. And everybody's wondering, is that the original guy from the original movie? And I think it was confirmed, like that's him, right?
No, it was confirmed that it's not him.
Is that a swerve though? Is that a
I
swerve?
mean, it could be they could have hired somebody else that looks like him to play that part. And maybe they just didn't expect that nowadays, people get very forensic with their trailers, looking at it, studying it frame by frame, that when that image came up, you cannot deny it's uncanny that this actor, this very skinny actor, looks exactly like Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, it's
But
Cillian
it is
Murphy. Like you
not
look at it and
him.
you're like, wait, that is that him? Like because at the end of the first movie, the three survivors survive for the most
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
Um, there are other alternate endings to that first movie that would suggest otherwise, but the one that was theatrically shown was that they all survived, but this really quick like second and a half zombie getting up looks exactly like Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
So I wonder how I'm real excited to see this. I'm looking forward to it. And then for an additional news of 20, the whole 28 days, 28 weeks, 28 years later thing. For those of you who are into physical media, 28 days later was released on Blu-ray years ago. Years ago. It's been long out of print. You cannot find the movie 28 Days Later anywhere. It's nowhere to stream. You cannot find it. You cannot buy it. It's there's a reason why that Blu-ray secondhand market on eBay or wherever was selling for, triple digits.
Hmm.
But now, what's the news about 28 Days Later?
It's available right now, digitally in 4K.
Yeah,
You
like
can
the
rent and
first
buy it.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's great.
15 bucks to buy.
You did buy it?
No, I haven't bought it yet. I need to just because I want to own it digitally. But yeah, I just looked it up to see how much it was, and it was like 3.99 to rent and 15 to buy.
Yeah, so I'm like okay, they release it digitally. Do I spend $15 now? Do I wait for
So a
another
physical
4K like
copy.
physical release to come out?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, because you and I both own it on Blu-ray, so it's not we have it. We can watch it whenever, and I would actually like to rewatch it now that it's been, more popularized again because of this new movie coming out. Or I guess two, since they announced that Nia DaCosta, if that's her name, right? Who did the Candyman remake?
Yep,
She is doing the sequel to this 28 years later called was it the Bone something? I can't remember what it's called.
I'm trying to
The,
remember. I can't
uh,
remember.
let me find it. The
Did you like
Bone
Nia DaCosta? Nia
Bone
DaCosta? Nia
Temple.
DaCosta?
I think
Bone
yeah, I
Temple.
think she's a good film. I wasn't a huge fan of that Candyman, that new Candyman. I think there were some really effective moments and some really great imagery in it. So I think it's very possible. So yeah, Nia DaCosta's 28 years later, The Bone Temple that will be releasing January of 2026. So about 7 months or so after this Danny Boyle one comes out. So I don't know if the plans are to just make a new trilogy out of it, or it's just these pair of films. I haven't done a deep enough dive to really know or not.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just like did somebody just bought the rights to it again and we're like we're releasing all of it now. Make our money back quickly. Could be. All right. Moving on to another fun bit of news in the Criterion Collection, the Neiman Marcus of home video and physical media movie-wise. The Criterion Collection has announced another Godzilla movie for all of you for their slate in was it March? I think March.
Yes.
Godzilla versus Biolante. Uh, and I'm very excited. It's going to be on 4K and Blu-ray. I don't
Yeah.
know much about Godzilla versus Biolante, but I think I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not, but yeah, March 18th. It's coming.
It's it's Biollante.
Biolante.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Yeah, I when I was a kid, right after the 98 version that nobody likes that we did on Fear and Loathing in cinema, I got really into Godzilla, so I started watching like a lot of the old ones. So I'm sure I came across this, but I don't remember a damn thing. But I think it's very cool. I've always loved the artwork and just the look of the different monsters. And I'd just be excited to go back to, in the same way that I've kind of been curious to go back and watch some of the older, the original Planet of the Apes films and kind of go through them since all these new ones have been coming out and these new, more ridiculous, I suppose, Godzilla films and Kong and all that. Haven't kept up with them too much, but I've been more curious to kind of dip into the past and take a look at this. But yeah, the artwork looks awesome for the cover.
yeah, it looks
So
really
yeah,
good.
I'd be down to watch a man in a suit fight another man in a suit.
There you go. Me too. Speaking of other physical media releases, today, much to the smiley faces and happiness and all of the good, warm, fuzzy feelings in his stomach, Preston, on
Yeah.
Arrow Video, Deep Blue Sea is getting a 4K release in March.
I'm excited because that artwork also looks really awesome of just the letters, the text of Deep Blue Sea, and then it has a lady swimming in red, very Jaws-like vibe, and then a shark underneath. And I like Deep Blue Sea quite a bit. I think it's a great deal of fun. And we've done it on here, right?
Yeah, I think, yes, we
Yeah.
have done it.
Yeah, so looks like it comes with new audio commentaries with the filmmakers. Those are it has an old one with which I haven't listened to with Rennie Harlan and Samuel Jackson, so that'll be fun to just listen back to Samuel Jackson talk about his death scene in that
Yeah,
film. There's some other, yeah, interviews with production designers, visual essay, which I always love those. Bloody Disgusting, I guess, put one together. Making of, which is archival. So yeah, good mix of new stuff, but the packaging and everything looks really awesome on it.
yeah, I'm excited about it.
So yeah,
Excited,
coming out
just,
March 18th on
yes.
4K and Blu-ray.
Same day as the Godzilla one, so that'll be a
Yeah.
hefty purchase day for
Yes, it
all of
will.
us. Here's a fun bit of news. So, okay, so it's December 20th right now. We have 5 days until Christmas. 5 days. And there's movies coming out in theaters this Christmas. You get Nosferatu, the horror movie. You're going to get the Bob Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown. And you're going to get Baby Girl, which is a sibling kind of movie to Eyes Wide Shut with Nicole Kidman having sex with people. Um,
One
so,
person.
huh?
One person.
One person. Yeah, basically. Well, like two people, but yeah, one person.
Her husband
Eh,
and another
Yeah,
guy.
Antonio Banderas and an intern. Who knows? I mean, seems like the life to me. Um, Next Christmas, as it
Yeah.
stands right now, next Christmas,
Speaking of
on
holiday,
Christmas Day, a movie will be released into theaters. And that movie is a sequel to Anaconda. The John Voight, the Owen Wilson, the Jennifer Lopez movie from the 90s, Anaconda, Ice Cube was in it. This movie is going to star Paul Rudd and Jack Black. And the log line of it is that this new movie is going to involve a group of friends who are facing a midlife crisis, like Jack Black and Paul Rudd, who are going to remake their favorite movie from their youth, which is Anaconda. They head to the rainforest and they're going to fight for their lives and survival against giant snakes and criminals and stuff. And I'm just like, fuck yes, this is the way to
yeah.
do a sequel.
Yeah. And maybe actually not pull a Will from Stranger Things with Eric Stoltz and put Eric Stoltz in the movie.
You're right. Eric Stoltz was in it for just like how long?
Yeah.
That long?
Just enough to be like, okay, they Jennifer Lopez likes the guy, and then he gets a bug in his throat or whatever it was.
Yeah. I hope, I hope they make reference to the nod, like the wink of John
Oh,
Voight.
yeah,
They
yeah.
have to. Like this is such a fun type of sequel. This is what I want to see. I don't want like a straight reboot remake. I want something like this. This is like Son of Rambo. It's like, oh shit, we're gonna remake our favorite movie. We're just a bunch of people, we're just a bunch of fathers and that have kids and we just want to make a movie. Why not do it? Let's take a couple weeks and go remake our own movie and then just it's real. The giant
Yeah.
snakes are real. And I'm so excited about this.
Yeah, it's cool how the filmmakers and the talent behind this are kind of cementing themselves with their careers and the types of stories they tell. This kind of meta type of thing, like the filmmaker that is writing the script and directing this is Tom Gormican, who did The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent
Which
with
is
Nick
great with
Cage,
Nick
which
Cage.
was
Yeah.
great and very meta and awesome. And so this kind of has that same type of vibe, but then you have Jack Black, who I'm getting personally getting kind of tired of him popping up in so many things, but he's always kind of a joy to watch no matter what, especially with something like this because he did Be Kind Rewind from like 20, 15, 20 years ago. And so just the fact that the characters are remaking Anaconda, but then the real shit hits the fan. It's is a funny concept for sure.
That's a great concept. I love that.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
type of stuff that you and I joke about on here in Fear and Loathing all the time, and they're doing it.
they're doing it. They probably listen to the show, and I'm pissed they don't have us there to consult.
Yeah,
And
I want to
the
be
fun,
eaten by a snake.
but the fun thing about this is, and I'm almost guaranteeing, like 97% guaranteeing the release date will be moved. It says it's going
Yeah,
to be released on Christmas Day next year. I guarantee you that there's going to move. They're going to move that
yeah.
because when you think of these, I mean, so many, if they got their things right, they would release these Oscar baity movies prior to Christmas and just kind of have fun family stuff for Christmas and
I
then
mean,
maybe,
Avatar is releasing Christmas next year,
yeah,
so they're competing with them.
which is pretty funny.
If that doesn't even get pushed back, because you know James Cameron.
Yeah, that'll be pushed back another 3 years. Fuck you, James Cameron. Um, One more piece of news before we go. Ghostbusters style. For those of
Yeah,
you who like the new Ghostbuster stuff, I personally do not like it. But
I don't mind it.
the new Ghostbusters, there will be a new Ghostbusters animated movie and a Ghostbusters animated series. Now, with that being said, are we going to reboot the animated series in the same form and fashion of that 2D animated artwork with the voices? Or are they going to bring in the actual Ghostbusters to kind of do an animated thing? Or is this going to like feature like a multi-world um timeline thing with all the Ghostbusters? I don't know, but I do like Ghostbusters. I like the first two. I like that 80s animated cartoon. I did not like Frozen Empire whatsoever. I thought it was one of the worst
Mhm.
films of the year. The one before that had moments of it. It was more nostalgia, but it was kind of fun.
I think the first half of that movie is very solid.
Yes. Um, and I did not like the women version whatsoever either.
Those
So,
damn women.
damn women taking their jobs. Why would you think a woman's gonna know how to use a proton pack? Come on. Um, I don't know. Animated stuff, I think I'm down for. I think they could do so much with an animated series and a movie that they cannot do in real life, and it probably will play better. What do you
Hmm.
think?
Yeah, I know that Sony and Netflix are working together on this, and I saw some quotes about how it's the filmmaker that's behind it, Chris Pern. He did Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs 2, so he's attached to direct it. And they want to do a Spider-Verse type of vibe to it. I don't know if that means the animation style will be carried over or it's just going to go for that type of development with the Ghostbusters world as they did with Spider-Verse. So I don't know. I like the Ghostbusters films. I didn't like I just said I don't mind the new ones so much, and I've watched, of course, the real Ghostbusters from the 1980s. Rewatched them over the past year with my son, and the Extreme Ghostbusters from the 1990s. So well versed in the world, and I'm always down. Like my son and I even read the comic books that they've released that are kind of just like in between bits
Yeah, the
of
comic
the
books were actually pretty good since
yeah,
like over the last 10 years they've done that. Those are really good.
yeah. So if you have the right person involved and they know the right story to tell, of course, it'll be a good thing. But yeah, I will be patient and wait and see what comes out of it. But the idea that they could be poking fun at themselves and have that sense of play that the Spider-Verse films have, but I guess this last Spider-Verse is taking forever to come out because of all the shit it faced with the animators not getting paid well enough and all that. So I don't know. We'll see. A lot of this, I don't know. I feel like each of these new stories, like they sound exciting, but I have to be kind of doom and gloom in a as if I'm hearing about like the next Guillermo del Toro project, be like, well, we'll wait and see, like you just said with some of these other stuff.
Yeah. And I'm curious, like I really hope they stick with the old style animation as
Yeah.
well with Ghostbusters
Yeah.
and not do like a Pixar like reboot type of thing.
Well, would you
Uh,
be down for them doing like a Spider-Verse thing if they did like watercolor and
oh, hell yes, because
yeah.
that the Spider-Verse animation is just so batshit to me that I like fall in love with it and it
Yeah.
looks amazing like you would want that on your wall.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the times. It looks really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the Ghostbusters world could be so colorful as a lot of the artwork tends to be. And so if they did that, like even the Puss in Boots, Last Wish or whatever it was called, had that kind of aesthetic to it, and even Wild Robot a little bit too. So yeah, I'd be down for them to find some sort of happy medium if it's not straight up 2D or something like that, hand
Yeah.
drawn.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It is a whole thing. Yeah, I think that that rounds us out for news for the end of the year here. Before we get
Oh, wait, we
into
should mention that
oh
Lee
wait, what?
Cronin, who
There's
did
more
Evil,
news?
yeah, Lee Cronin, the director of Evil Dead Rise, he's going to be directing The Mummy. So that's exciting for me. Not that it's going to have like Brendan Fraser or anything like that. It's going to be like Universal horror type of thing with Lee Winnell's Invisible Man and Wolfman coming out. So I guess that is the director that will be doing it. And I like Evil Dead Rise, and so we'll see how this goes. But yeah, that's exciting, I guess.
That's very exciting. I mean, I guess this will be more in the line of Tom Cruise's, or it will be like Invisible
Yeah,
Man.
hell no.
What do you want? What do you hope for? I mean, I know you want just Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, yeah. I want that sense of adventure and play. But yeah, again, my son and I have gone through the Universal horror films again, and Invisible Man's my favorite out of all of them. But the Mummy is a great deal of oh, I don't know if I would say fun, but it's a very interesting film. So I think there's a lot of potential there for them to, especially if they get like really realistic with it within this supernatural realm. I think that would be uh, a way to go about it. Because I always felt like Universal Horror and Hammer and all that, especially if you watch some of these ones that were kind of not as well known. I can't really list off the names of them, but I had like those Shout Factory, Scream Factory packs of like the Universal horror films, and it had like four of them in there, and they would have like The Raven and some of these ones where they're like grave robbers
Yeah, I
and
remember
things
that.
like
Yeah.
that, and scientists, and I think I was like, man, this is like way more character driven than I was expecting, and it's way I'm invested in it, and then it's like the last 15 minutes of it's when it gets more Hollywood and what you're wanting out of it. So like the slow burn stuff. So yeah, I think there's a lot of potential there for them to do some very scary and character focused work with the Mummy, I hope.
Yeah, speaking of the Mummy, and speaking of Brendan Fraser, Preston, didn't you like have
Did.
lunch with Brendan Fraser the other day?
I didn't have lunch, but I had a candlelight dinner, I guess.
That's better. That's
Yeah,
romantic.
yeah, it is. Just a sweet. I did not talk to him face to face or anything like that. But my family and I just for Christmas last week we went to Disney World and we went to the candlelight processional that was led by Brendan Fraser, where they tell the story of Christmas, and then they have a choir sing and a band play or orchestra play, and it was really cool to just see him in the flesh and have a decent seat and him just put on a suit and tell the story of Christmas. And he is just the real deal with like in between when because the reality is like he's intro in it. He's like the MC, and so he talks for like a little bit, and he was making reference to the his work catalog and just like the whirlwind of opportunities that he's had lately. But stuff like this is very meaningful to him because he gets to surround himself with people who are very talented in singing and playing. And so, in between, when because I imagine it's probably pretty awkward to just stand up there as the spotlight's still on you and you're not saying anything and you're having to, like, for minutes on end to listen as people play and sing. And he's just there, just soaking up the beauty of everything, and made me appreciate more about the art that goes into singing and playing music. So it was really special. The crowd was effing crazy though. Like, we got lucky that we purchased these special dinners. We reserved a dinner and you got tickets through it. So you had to pay a little bit more at these restaurants, but you got a secure seat at the venue. And that whole area of Epcot in between Asia and Morocco, I think, was just completely wall to wall people. And we left our stroller off to the side because you have to go to a park with a stroller. Otherwise, it's madness and having to carry a bunch of shit around. And afterwards, it took me about an hour to get my stroller and get out of there. I just ended up walking around the entire other side of the park just to not go through the wall of people that were trying to get into it. It was insane.
Wow. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people because they had multiple ones throughout the day because he was doing it for 2 days on December 13th and 14th, and they had multiple showings. So while so many people were trying to get in, others were trying to get out, and other people were trying to get in, and the other one, they should have spaced them apart more, but it was fun.
Did you
I'm
tell
glad I
him I
got to
said
go.
hello?
Yes, from afar. Hey, we
Brian
love
says
you, and so does
hello.
my friends.
Good. Well, I'm glad you got to see him and hear him live.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it was nice.
it's good. It's very good. Well, good. We are My Bloody Podcast, of course. We are doing our thing. We are doing horror movies, even in the spirit of Christmas. We've got one to talk about. We'll have the director of this movie called The Damned on um in a little bit.
Okay, so let's talk about The Damned. The Damned, good title, by the way. I love that title. So the film is a dark period drama and a psychological thriller, I suppose you could say. It's directed by the up and coming Icelandic filmmaker Thordur Palsson. It's like I Know What You Did Last Winter, I guess. I
Set a
guess you could say.
long ago, yes.
Yeah, yeah, set during the 19th century,
Yes.
and it's a ghostly revenge film for a fishing village who makes the decision not to save a sinking foreign boat's crew from dying for fear that their safety and livelihood would be jeopardized, which is, I think it's an interesting question for the viewer to wrestle with. Like
Well,
Titanic,
right,
Titanic
because
wrestles with the same question when it comes to
lifeboats.
survivors scattered across the ocean, swamping the boat and potentially killing them. It's a nasty thought, and I don't know if I'm that
Yeah, you
very
think like okay, you have like a little village, you have like your little house full of like 8 family members, you make food for enough of people, it's really cold, it's the winter, and you see a boat capsize or like a disaster happen, and there's gonna be who knows who's over there, who knows if th're crazy people, if they want to murder you.
yeah
But then if they're all super nice and friendly, you still like, okay, do we ration our food? Like, are we all
yeah.
gonna die because now we have like 30 people instead of like the 8? How does that work? Where is the logic? And this is all quick decision making. Um,
Yeah, I'm not really great with quick decision making. I would like to say, because we watch a lot of movies, and when we're watching them, we're like, I would have done this and that, but that you're not in the situation, you're not under that sort of pressure. So this widow who's kind of leading everything makes the difficult decision to walk away, and it gets a little intense. But yeah, I don't think I would try to be like, hey, 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 I know y'all are dying over there, but you're not going to kill us, right? We have our rations, like, we got to keep things pretty tight. And can we trust you? Yeah, it's like Lord of the Flies or something. Like you don't know people's. So I like that question. I think it's an interesting one to wrestle with, like the morals, and I think the film does a good job of putting us into that mindset of like making that decision, living with that decision, and the types of like heated arguments that take place after that, and the type of odd shit and weird things that you see as a result of it. I thought was pretty effective at times. It's a very slow burn type of movie, and I just like it's my kind of cup of tea. One of my favorite films, horror films, really, of the past couple of years is a film that came out, man, maybe 2019 or so, called The Wind, and it was about prairie madness. I think I've talked about it on this podcast before, but it was another quietly effective horror movie that just dealt with madness of people, the blurring of reality, and trusting or not trusting one's own brain. And there's some images in here, like with one like a hand on a bed, or seeing things in the shadows and things like that. So perfect time to watch a movie like this at this time of the year when you and I are both super exhausted by bleak and heavy drama films that tend to populate the award season, and we're kind of craving these palate cleansers. But I guess there's probably a small group out there that has not, watched back-to-back movies kind of like
Okay.
this. And
Yeah.
so um, maybe if you're craving that sort of thing, I think this may be one to watch for that feeling.
Right. It has to have some horror elements in it. And when I watched it, it looks really good. The Icelandic, I mean, you really feel cold watching this movie. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah.
it's a
You can see the
slow
breath.
freeze, a slow freeze burn, of it.
There you go.
The thing that really bugged me about the movie is there's so many moments that set up some truly terrifying fucking horror, and it was met with either somebody coming into frame and distracting you and like the horror going away, or it was
The Godzilla
something.
effect.
Yes, yes, it really was. And you're just, yeah, I was sitting there because there's moments where you see like a figure sitting in the snow and it slowly stands up and you're just like, holy shit. And
Yeah,
then it's gone. Or when Preston was talking about these village people going to see if they're survivors, and like there's something in the rocks and all of these things start to happen, then you realize what it is, and that horror feeling goes away. Or there's a moment where they find a dead body and the stomach of this dead body starts to churn and
yeah.
pop up with like an alien
Eels.
like thing, and you're just like, oh, here's where it's going, it's about to get crazy, and then it doesn't. There's so many moments like that where there's like a horrifying setup for a second, and then like there's a quick flash of fire, and then somebody comes in asking a question, and then like all is normal again. I hated that. I wanted more terror with it. Like, did you get that at all, or did you like this?
No, I see your frustration with that as somebody who wants it to go to those levels, just like we were talking about earlier, or hinting at with the unicorn killing people in like Cabin in the Woods, where that movie goes to those lengths of like, oh man, you're just stroking my horror loving heart to go to these extreme places. But as somebody who personally loves this like that quiet effect that I was talking about with the wind. It's very much like that too, where it doesn't. There's something very admirable. It may not be 100% satisfying to a horror fan watching it in the moment, but there's something kind of just kicking around in my brain after you finish it, that it made that decision to do that. That the human mind and how it can't be trusted is a very interesting thing, to know whether was there reason that I saw that or what. Like it's a film of a lot of questions, and I like that. But like you're saying, it may not be satisfying for someone who's wanting it to tease when it's teasing these things to be like, no, no, I'm gonna capitalize on it. Like that's really cool, and then you can take it to something that's special. But I think it's special in another way because a lot of the literature that I read in college had something about that makes it very fun read. Where you're like, oh yeah, that's it's the. I mean, you know me with all the philosophical shit. Like I like this type of stuff, so. I guess it just depends what side of the coin you're wanting with psychological horror, because it does live up to the psychological horror or terror part of it, but it's not a full or purebred horror film or anything, which sounds like what you were wanting from it.
Right. I mean, I like a little bit of both, but it was just like a constant tease of showing something, oh, hell yeah, here we go, and then just kind of like deflating immediately. And it happened every time. I do like the element of the movie going like the kind of dealing with mental issues a little bit, but I want
Or the
how
impact of
Thor.
grief and isolation and things
Yes,
like
and I
that.
get that. I like that, but how Thordor set up those horror moments, I could see like, oh man, this is gonna be like The Thing, or oh my God, this is gonna be like this other horror movie, and not like it's going to go that direction, but like it could set something up, and it's clearly trying to set something up like that, and then it never does. But maybe the truly horrifying realization is that this is a realistic thing that's happening
Yeah.
and we're seeing both sides to it. So maybe that's like the real horror that I need to, fall in love with over multiple viewings of The Damned.
Perhaps so. So yeah, I mean, it's totally fair as a horror fan to have that reaction to it. I just found that I there's some films that I can watch, and I just put it while I'm watching it in a visual medium, I kind of pretend that I'm reading it in a way. And I think this story would make a really great read. And I just kind of, because that's how, when I'm thinking back on it, yeah, I'm thinking about those images and everything, but I tend to just focus on the text of it all or what's in between the lines, so to speak. And so, I don't
Well,
know.
that, now I
It's
want to,
rich in a lot of ways, I suppose.
yeah, well, now I want to find out if Preston is being a pestering Preston to me because he's saying that he liked this movie and it went where he wanted it to go for the most part. But if like Nosferatu or Alien Romulus, Preston, you said like it didn't go hard enough and you wanted it to.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just has to do with tone and like what's established. I know that it may sound contradictory to what you're saying because of the film does have moments where it sets up some things that it could have, done more and it could have gone to an insane area. But I don't think I was expecting it from something like this, like with Alien and the way that teaser trailer was, where it seemed like in Alien Romulus does go to some of those places, but just not as much as I was wanting from it, knowing the talent involved with it. But I still love
Yeah.
the movie. It's like in my top, I don't know, 40 or something of the year, which maybe not sound like a lot, but
Top
we watch a lot of
40.
movies. Yeah. I don't know where it is in the rank, but it's in my honorable mentions. And we spoke with the filmmakers that did the sound, and the sound's incredible. I would give that like top five sound film of the year for sure. So, yeah, I just wasn't expecting something insane here because most of these movies, because I think this film was picked up by Vertical, and I mean, it's not like it's a high dollar budget or anything like that. I just knew going into this that there was going to be limitations to its imagination, and I felt like it gave me something in a different way by giving me more to chew on with this question of madness, reality, grief, and all those themes that are explored here, or isolation. Like, man, what the hell would life be like? Just cutting fish and just being like, man, we're living in the Black Plague right now type of feel. Like, just life is complete shit, and I imagine that does some crazy things to your mind. So. I don't know, like more interesting to think about after watching it. Maybe not the most enjoyable experience while watching it, but I did appreciate the film overall, I guess.
So after watching the film, do you think this movie is a close sibling to the movie Saw?
Some inspiration, I suppose.
Maybe of someone like maybe Thordur, the director of this movie, The Damned, found a way for like these people that are getting brutally killed, maybe found a way to kill themselves. I don't know. It's something to think about. Like I do like the movie The Damned. I I guess with what Preston said about Romulus and Nosferatu, I wanted to go all the way here because when you watch this movie, The Damned, you see these horror things coming up, and Thorder perfectly captures it, and you're just like, okay, here we go, and then, okay, so, but it's the slow freeze, it's the slow freeze burn.
I don't know if it's the David Lowery obsession that I have with the type of film, because we've had him on this podcast before, and the types of movies that he makes. It like for instance, perhaps the outlier in his filmography, which I think is probably one of my favorite films that he's done outside The Green Knight and Ghost Story, is The Old Man and the Gun. And in that movie, rather than showing the robbery, he's showing the aftermath of it and those questions that you're asking and kind of getting into it. And so I just felt like this, rather than getting into it, it just did the other
The
thing,
other
I
way,
guess.
okay. So it's like
So.
Boondock Saints shows the aftermath.
Yeah, yeah. We don't have the money to do the thing, but we'll imply it.
We'll imply it. There was a firefight. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are we going to have this director on our show?
Yeah, yeah. Let's see how this conversation goes, even though I know how it went.
All right. We're going to
Yeah.
bring on the director of The Damned, Thordur Palsson. We're going to call him Thor, hopefully. So here, let's go see his hammer.
Yeah. The Damned opening exclusively in theaters on January 3rd.
Also, Thordur, how do you pronounce your name?
You could just, how were you going to say it?
How was I going to say it?
Yeah,
I fuck up everybody's name. So I was going to be like, his name was Thordur Palsson.
brilliant.
Oh, perfect. I love it. See, I didn't mess it up. M. Night
Ah,
Shyamalan style. I love
oof, yes.
it. You doing all right, Thorder?
I'm good, good. Yeah, it's kind of it's dark in Iceland. We get a couple hours of daylight, and but Christmas is around the corner, and Iceland
Mhm.
is I think it's the most beautiful place in the world in December. You got the snow, you get the Christmas lights. Yeah, it's winter wonderland over here.
I love that. All right, we're gonna have fun on my bloody podcast. That's Preston, that's Chelsea, I'm Brian. And we're gonna have the best fucking horror movie interview right now coming in all the
Yes.
way. It's a man, it's a myth, it's a legend. He has directed The Damned, and we are all damned here on this podcast, this My Bloody podcast. It's Thordur Palsson.
Hey, thank you for having me, man.
So happy for you to come on the show to talk about The Damned and all sorts of other movies and horror. So before we get to The Damned, where did you fall in love with horror? Where was that romantic spark with you in the horror genre?
The romantic spark. I remember that the first film that petrified me, and this is probably not a horror film that it was Lost Boys, The Lost Boys.
Yeah.
And when Kiefer Sutherland turns for the first time, just before they kill those people on the beach, it when he turned, I had to turn the film off. Well, I wasn't. I was like 6 years old, and I was petrified. And I still remember what I was eating. I remember where I was. I remember what I did after I saw that moment. I didn't even see the rest of the film until years later.
What was it that scared you so much? Was it the transformation? Was it just the whole suspense of it?
Well, I can look at it differently today than I would have done then. But I think it was the surprise element of the play, the way the shot was composed, the trick of the light, and you hadn't seen him with fangs and the eyes until then. And it just, yeah, it was the element of surprise. I wasn't expecting that change in that moment, and it scared the crap out of me. Yeah.
I love that. It is such a good movie. I'm gonna throw it to Chelsea. Chelsea's got some cool stuff for you.
Oh, okay. Well, hello. I was
Hey.
just so as I was watching, I'm gonna get into talking about the movie a little bit. Uh no spoilers or anything, but I always like to, because we are from the US and we have our own kind of like old wives' tales.
Mm.
I know that there are a few in the movie about like the dead binding their hands with a rotted rope and the spinning around so they can't orient themselves. But those are really old ones. Are there
Mhm.
any that you and your generation have, or even like your mom or dad's that you can remember?
Well, I mean, nothing like that, but there is
Yeah,
this. There, thank God, my mom isn't like that.
yeah, yeah.
If she was, we would have some problems on our hands. No, but there is this really interesting thing, this kind of half myth, but there is truth to it that, a lot of Icelanders believe in the hidden people. I don't know if you guys have heard that about Icelanders. And so yeah, these people that live in certain large rocks, and there's even been stories of certain companies building roads around some of these big rocks because they don't want to anger the hidden people that live within it. So there's all these interesting things that I think still are in some people, but I think it is just the myths, the stories, that we've kind of told one another. But yeah, there's nothing really in my family like that. But my grandmother and my great grandmother, who I wasn't lucky enough to meet, she was, what do you call it? She was she could see things that weren't, that she could. So often, uh, women would come to her and she would read the tea leaves from
Okay.
the cups. And my grandmother, the older my grandmother is getting, her sensitiveness to these things is coming out. And I don't know if it's dementia or if it's part of what her
Like
mother
the
had.
veil lifting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because she's talking about people that are in the room, but not in a dementia way. It's more something is, reality is getting diluted or something, and she's
Yeah.
seeing. So I don't know what when people are, they can see into dimensions, or I don't know what it's called, but
Like a
yeah,
sixth sense.
Like a
yeah, no, I
psychic?
mean, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's and and then someone says, you're all right, he's at peace or whatever, and then someone can go, but that was in my great grandmother, and my grandmother has it, but my grandmother won't admit to it. It's like, no, 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 no. And I'm like, did you know what you just told me that you saw in the other room? I was like, oof. So yeah,
That's fun.
there's a bit of that in Iceland.
Yeah.
Interesting. Preston, do you have something?
Yeah, I was wondering if you could speak to the art of reactions in the film and electing to show someone's reaction to something rather than always framing up the action as a way to construct a tone poem here, specifically through Odessa Young's character Ava in the film. Like the camera often focuses on her responses to the events in each scene as she undergoes the flaws of the men around her or the darkness that envelops her, whether it's the men beating people with oars to keep them from swamping the boat or gutting someone to reveal eels swimming within their innards. So just curious about all that.
Yeah, I mean, the film was developed or constructed in a way where I wanted to only be in Eva's point of view because it is a psychological horror film, and I believe for it to be psychological, it has to be rooted in character. And I wanted to play with the is it or is it not happening of the story. And for me, if I root the camera and the character, or the camera in her shoes, uh, I want to perceive the film, the reality of the film through her. So I cut constantly to Odessa and how she's perceiving this moment and how she's reacting to this moment. And so it had to do with the how I wanted to tell the story. So it actually became, often, when in doubt, where is Eva the character and how is she feeling? So that was kind of integral to the story. In for me, also in how we end the film, and because for me it is all about guilt. It is all about the choices we make, the repercussions of them, and then the deterioration of someone's mental health through the story. So for me, I just wanted to find every way I could in rooting the audience in Eva's point of view and hopefully be with her in the story, and not observing her.
Hmm. So how would you say that a film like this that greatly deals with the blurriness of reality, which we've touched on, how much does it impact how much you should trust your own mind? Does it help you get more in your mind or does it help you get more out of it?
Wow, very complex question there.
Yeah.
Preston.
No, no, very great question. Can you tell me that question one more time so I can give you a good answer on that?
So since the film just so much deals with how how blurry
Mhm.
reality can be and how much should you trust what you see in front of you or should you not? I'm curious if working on this film, getting into the mindset of the characters, does it impact how you perceive your own reality?
I believe and have believed, and that's maybe why the point of view of the film is we create our own reality. I think you perceive a moment in your own way, and I perceive it that way, and whatever that horrific event is in your life, if we were there together, you would have possibly told that story in a different way.
Mhm.
So for me,
Mhm.
I mean, we can go deep on this. What is reality? But it is how you perceive things. I mean, why do people argue? I know I perceive that in that way. And it's like, well, that's so that's kind of my viewpoint on reality, on moments. Um, so yeah, so I guess that's kind of how I look at things. That there isn't always a cut and dry answer, when there is conflict or something like that. There is, perception. Um, so what is reality? I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like it. We'll be right back. All right, here we go. I like this. I got a question for this Thordur. Can I call you Thor?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it's the coolest name in the world. Thor. All right. The beginning of the movie, it reminds me of these other films that like Lord of the Rings or something like that, where people are at around the table and they're singing a song before the meal or they're having a good time. why doesn't anybody sing at the dinner table anymore in movies? And where did you come up with the lyrics to this song? Was it something you heard from centuries ago, or did you come up with it?
I mean, that's all Jamie Hannigan, the screenwriter. It was literally, I think they should be singing. He's like, okay, can you write a song? He's like, okay, yeah. And so yeah, there's music he's Irish. All of these guys are singing and dancing and drinking all the time. So, and he was very lucky that his sister is a kind of a known musician in Ireland. She used to be in a band with Damien Rice. So he wrote this song, and he also wrote the rhyme that's later in the film. And so, but for me, they all feel like old Icelandic songs to me. And so I think he was able to tap into that. But for me, also, talking about table scenes and dinner scenes, and like I would have loved to like have had like you watch the Deer Hunter, and see these films that like half the film is the wedding. That's half a film, and then the rest of the film is the other half that we know is the Deer Hunter. But it's just these guys having fun in a bar after a shift, and then he's gonna get married, and then there's like huge long wedding, and I just think
Yeah.
and also like The Godfather, so you're looking at
Melancholia.
these films, yeah, and like what are these
Yeah.
films doing, and why are they doing this? And so there's this film for us, this scene for us is it's trying to do a lot of you try not to be too on the nose with things, but you only have a finite amount of time to who are these characters, where are the alliances, where are the conflicts, what's the world, and then the film is off to the races. So for me, I love these films that just kind of fuck it, just put them together, drinking, having fun, and then throw a bit of conflict in there. Let's get it all out on the table. So I was just figuring out a way to how can we get the film moving straight away, and but then again, then I put like a slow ghost story at the end of it. So it's I don't know, you know.
What
So
is
yeah,
reality?
yes, exactly. That's
There you
going to
go.
Exactly.
be the clip.
Yeah, I like that. And my another question. So you've been in the film business a while. You've made movies and the short films. Is it fun or is it a challenge? Or do you find the super funness in shooting scenes with candlelight only? Is that hard to do? Do you look forward to that challenge? Is it fun?
I mean, that's such a long kind of process in figuring out are we going to shoot with candlelight or not? Are what what's the prep going to be? Like Eli Aronson, he shot the film. He also did a film called Lamb, which was an A24 film, which was a gorgeous film. And yeah, so it just kind of went into us trying to figure out what's the language of the film. What are the references? Not randomly, but a film that became kind of for me the reference for this one was There Will Be Blood, and I loved the interior lighting of it, and I love how PT moves the camera, and Eli he likes to kind of construct a frame that's more painterly. It's still, and I like to move the camera. So I think There Will Be Blood is like a beautiful mixture of both those things. And like the piano and these kind of films that are you're trying to tell like a big story from a single character's point of view. So I'm going into that, but you were asking about the lighting, but it came from figuring out what kind of turns us on, and then yeah, and I would say like 90% of the interiors were shot like pure candlelight, just a little help.
That's impressive. I think Chelsea has another question about the cinematographer as well, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, how was it working with Eli, and how did you guys kind of uh settle on a tone and
Visual
just
language.
yeah, visually.
Yeah, it's interesting. he brings his own kind of storytelling way, and then I bring mine, and I think, like I was kind of getting at, that he likes still frames. I like to move the camera, and I think this film is like a blend of both. But the main thing is like, where is Eva and what is Eva doing? And you're trying to, obviously, I like movement, but it has to be motivated. So, but yeah, but the language was finding references, looking at certain films, what are the interiors looking like, what are the exteriors. I very early on knew I wanted everything to be as practical as possible, so you could kind of feel the
Hmm.
world in a way and get the
Yeah.
audience in that, in the West Fjords of Iceland with the snow and the cold and the bleakness of it, and also the claustrophobia. So that kind of, you just start prepping and talking and talking through things, and as you're kind of slowly talking about the scenes and shot listing, you start to see each other. And then by the time we were shooting it, it was, because things go wrong while you're shooting, and then we were very quick at coming up with solutions because through prep, we had understood the language we were speaking and how the camera moved, or if it
Yeah.
didn't.
Awesome.
That's great. Preston?
Yeah, I would like to ask about just coming up with the equation of dread for yourself in this, because as I already noted with like Odessa's character, like focusing in on her, but there's also sound that is a pretty key element into creating a certain feeling as we're watching, as well as the visuals. And so, yeah, I'm just kind of curious about like working that out and working with your editor to create these transitional moments that kind of like, for instance, right after the gutting scene where the eels come out, or right after when they're on the boat and then Cole smashes somebody in the face, and then we're kind of left with this feeling, like the sunken feeling of like, oh my God, this is crazy. But then there's a cut of like bottles, like the sound of bottles hitting each other, and it's kind of jolting. And so
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious about figuring that out.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're trying to find, contrasts within the film. I believe that, it should be peaks and valleys. I believe in breather scenes. Like after the boat scene, they go on to the beach and they're all struggling with what happened, and that's like a breather scene. Like, and as she's struggling, yeah, we take the sound out. We try and
Hmm.
become a little bit more psychological. You're trying to figure out, trying to feel that kind of ringing in your ears, even though we don't put ringing. It's just trying to get inside her head. And then as you've kind of drawn, hopefully, the audience into her point of view and how she feels, and now it's time to wake the audience up. And that's boom, that's when it
All
comes,
right.
Jesus Christ. And now the story starts again. So for me, it's like peaks and valleys.
Mm,
I wholeheartedly believe you can't just have, suspense, or action, 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 and that's why you have scenes like, them in the middle of the night bonding, after she had that fright in the fish racks.
yeah.
The audience needs a breather, and if you can have that breather, if you can open it up to character development, and backstory, and the slow warmth to these characters, and maybe think, "Ooh, I hope they might end up together." I don't know, but like, it's the
Yeah.
warmth, and hopefully these elements all work together in working in the structure of the film of sorts.
Gotcha.
It's
So,
amazing.
which
Yes.
area of filmmaking would you say that you get the most, I don't know, like scientific, or you really try to focus, give most of your energy towards something?
Excuse me, sorry, what I didn't hear the beginning of the question. Sorry.
Like, which area of filmmaking or storytelling do you give most of your energy to? Because that's
Mm.
the area that you feel the most passionate about.
It's all stuck together, like because I developed my own stuff and I shepherded from the beginning to the end. I possibly what I don't know what the passion is. I think the thing I'm constantly just learning is still post-production. Like you're constantly learning, like Eli, for instance, he kept on, we had to wait for certain things to get right outside, if it was weather or whatever it was. And he would just ask Odessa, Eva, to just stand over there and look out to the ocean. And he just roll the camera and shoot. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm never going to use that. That makes no sense in the film. It's like, yeah. And he just did this. Hey, Odessa, look out the window. And I'm like, okay. I used all those shots. That just shows you it is the thing of, oh, you write one thing, you shoot one thing, you edit the thing in the end, and it's all different films in a way. And so that what I learned, what I hopefully take into the next thing, is just constantly be shooting, 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 shooting. If you're waiting for something, I don't know, shoot something, because when you're working with your editor and they're creative and they are finding the film just as I am, we used all the stuff that we cut stuff out, we made new scenes. There's loads of stuff that were like never in the film, that were like just new scenes in the film, because my editor was like, oh, it's this thing and this thing, and he just picture in picture, and then I had three new scenes.
That's great.
That's just creativity, man. It's
That's
fucking
cool.
it's beautiful.
I
Yeah.
love it. Thank you so much for joining us on My Bloody Podcast for this short talk. We would love to have you back on the show. Um, Thor,
Let's
where
come
can
back.
everybody find you? Where can everybody find you?
Instagram, I don't know. Find me, I don't know.
If you want to be famous.
Where can they find the movie?
Yeah. In theaters near you, yeah.
It's The Damned. We're all damned. It's good stuff. Thank you so much. We very much appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's been
Thank you.
brilliant. Thank you.
Merry
Yeah.
Christmas.
Merry
Yeah.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Well, okay. That was Thordur. That was Thordur. Well,
Yeah.
how'd you think that went?
It went so good that we lost Chelsea.
It's so good. Chelsea, it went so well. Chelsea went and just drowned herself in cold water in the Icelandic lake. Yeah. I mean, I think Thor, I called him Thor.
Yeah, you
Um,
did.
I did. I think Thor really kind of capsulated of like what we were talking about. We didn't say it, but like the reality, like what's the reality here of
Yeah.
these horror moments. So I thought that was good that you brought up.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the conversation. It was about 25 minutes or so, and it got a little fun with some things that you were asking, and then I guess I got it a little more serious because that's where I naturally go. So I think and we could, as you had mentioned during the conversation, I think we could have kept going with him. There was some more things some more itches that we needed to scratch, and he seemed like a really fun and knowledgeable guy to just have on the show, maybe in the future to talk about other films, and because I love doing that with filmmakers, and we don't get to do that too often, other than David Lowery, to just discuss art in this deep and meaningful way. And so I felt like through the conversation, it made me appreciate the film even more and his intentions and the whole mystery feel of it all, the darkness, and so yeah, I think he has a promising career ahead of him.
I think so too. I really do. We were pressed for time, and I
Yeah,
wanted to have him on for longer because I wanted to ask because this movie is takes place outside and they filmed it in Iceland and all this
yeah.
cold stuff, and it looks like they're actually dealing with real fish or some sort of cutlets of fish. I
Yeah.
really wanted to ask, how did it smell
The
making this
senses are
movie?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did it smell on set? Because there's lots of moments where like the actors are eating raw fish or cutting up raw fish. I was like, man, that had to be a fun smell inside like the house.
How fresh are they?
Yeah, how
Real.
fresh are your fish? So, Yeah, I wanted to ask that. There was a few other things that I wanted to ask too, but hopefully it seems like maybe we'll develop a little relationship with this director and we'll have him on to join the gang of My Bloody podcast that we've had on for quite a while. I've got some good peeps.
Yeah, I would like to have him on just so you guys can talk out the reason why he maybe teased you too much
Yeah, I
with
was
the
like,
film.
man, I want you to tease me, but I want you to like give. I want a climax at some
Yeah.
point in the
Why,
movie.
God? Why?
Yeah, why, God, you left me with blue balls in this frozen tundra of a movie. Fuck. Um, yeah, but The Damned, it's that's cool. I mean, I like talking. And is Thordur Palsson like the coolest fucking name ever?
Yeah, yeah, it is. I was trying to like when we had the opportunity to interview him and I was looking him up. I was like, This is you made the joke and sorry, Thorder, if you're listening to this, you made the Fight
The
Club
fight.
joke."
Yeah, his name was Thordur Paulson. His name
Yeah.
was Thor, and you hope that some of these filmmakers get are in on the joke because like
I mean, I
these.
would be too
I
with
mean,
my
some aren't. Like there was a recent interview with Denzel Washington, and somebody asked him about like watching movies, and he's
yeah.
like, "I don't fucking watch movies." I'm like, "You piece of shit! What the hell? Like, you're involved in it." And he's like, "I'm from the streets," is what Denzel said. He's like, "I'm from the streets. I was robbing people until I got my break." And I was like, "Wait, does that mean you don't watch movies? You don't like movies? You're
I think
in
that's a
this."
damn lie. He watches it with his sons.
That's what you gotta say, like be excited about it. That's what people want to hear. And so like like my pet peeve is when an actor or director is like, I don't watch movies. I don't know. Or it's just like Godard, I was like, no, give me the
Right.
real stuff, Denzel. And I feel like Thorder in the interview when we just had him on, he was like, fuck yeah, Lost Boys. And I was like, yes, that's good
Yeah.
stuff. Lost Boys.
Yeah.
So now we need to have Thorder on and we need to surprise him with Corey Feldman coming
Yes.
on since we know Corey Feldman.
It's
So
true.
yeah, we were at a bar with him in LA. Um,
We didn't
that
have
would be
drinks
fun.
with him, but I drank my drink next to him.
Yes, you did. You did. Well, we talked with, or at least I talked with him. We got pictures with him, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And but yeah, that would be fun. But yeah, I know see, Thorder knows he likes, man, Thor. What a cool name. Preston, why didn't you name your kid Thor? It's a missed opportunity. Thor Barta.
I felt like I feel like there's somebody within like maybe I went to high school with that's named their kid Thor. It's very popular names have been Thor, Ryder, like for Ryder Strong. Um, what is some other one? There's one that's been like the number one. I was like, man, I feel like I have like five people I went to school with that named their kids this, and it even came up on the list for when my son was born, but did not go with it. Damn, I can't remember what it is. What's the name? Rex. Something.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm surprised you didn't go with Rex just because T-Rex. I mean,
right.
I
Yeah.
feel like the dinosaur in you.
Oh, it's Knox. Knox was like a popular ass name.
Knox.
I was
Knock,
like, sorry,
knock.
man. I lived in Dallas and I went to Knox Street Pub. No,
Yeah. Knox. Knox and Henderson. My name is Knox Henderson Bata. Um,
Knox Polson.
Knox Paulson. I'm sorry, Thor. We like your name so much. We want to use it.
I promise we haven't been drinking or smoking.
Well,
We're just
speak
having
for
a good time.
yourself. Speak for yourself. It is 5 o'clock somewhere. But yeah, this is my bloody podcast. We're having fun. I was this the last episode of the year for us
I don't
besides
know. I was going to ask you about that. I don't know if we should do like a top horror films of the year type of thing, or I don't know.
no, we should. We can't go out on the damned. We have to do
Yeah,
a year-end
okay,
horror
yeah,
thing.
yeah. We can't end on blue balls,
Yeah, yeah. I got teased too much during the damned Thor. Come on. Make
So,
me climax.
Yeah.
Preston will watch, and so will our fallen Florida Angel Chelsea. She'll come back to
Yeah.
life as a phoenix and come back next year, right?
Yes. Yes.
uh,
Because you're Jewish and you're gonna be, as you joked, you're gonna be bored all next week.
I am. I'm going to be a sad, lonely Jew. Actually, I'm not because Hanukkah starts really late this year. It starts on the 26th. It starts after Christmas. So
Ah,
I will be celebrating Hanukkah through the new year, through 2025. So, which
Yeah.
is,
While the
which,
rest of us are sad sacks leading into 2025 because a certain person going in power, you'll be having just a little bit more of a good time before.
yes, yes, I will be celebrating. Yeah, yeah, we'll have a new president. And I was hoping when that the upcoming president he was tweeting like memes of people with McDonald's and I was like, man, if he only tweeted stuff like that, just memes, it would be so funny. But no, that's not going to happen. So yeah, we'll see if we'll all be around next year
Yeah.
this time.
Government shutting down. Yeah.
It is, yeah, yeah, yeah. We will see. Yeah, yeah. Government shutting down. Starbucks is striking. What's happening?
Yeah.
So,
Got some
but
good
we will
movies.
be here on My Bloody Podcast no matter what. We will bring you the horror goodness, and the horror politics of it all.
Yes.
So, yeah. Preston, where can they find you?
You can find me most active on Instagram under Blu-ray Dad. I will be releasing my top films of the year on there very soon. I wrote an article with my top 12 because it's so damn hard to narrow down to 10 because there's so many movies I want to mention.
Bitch, you said you had a
Uh,
top 40.
I know. Well, if because I was looking at my last year post that I did for the top of the year, and I did top 20 on best of the best, and I put it in alphabetical order because I don't like to rank things. So I ranked it as well as I could for the Denton Record-Chronicle for the article that'll be in the paper. And I will be posting my top 20 with another 15 or so honorable mentions that will have some good films on there.
Yeah, indeed.
So, yeah, you can find written work in Denton Record Chronicle. I'll be doing some more food and stories, like true stories, like features on people in the area type of thing on there. So that'll be fun and a new thing for me. And it'll be heading into January, award season, Critics' Choice, and all that fun stuff. So the good times are still ahead.
Good times are still ahead. Yes. Also, I want to bring up that on Fear and Loathing in Cinema podcast, our other show, we are doing a year-end show where Dan Moran, our colleague Dan Moran, the law of the land, has come up with a very fun categorization for our Fear
Yeah.
and Loathing awards for movies this year.
Yeah, not just like top of the year type stuff, which we're going to do our top five and all that, but he came up with some really fun categories and even personalize some of them based off of our personalities.
Oh, yes.
So that'll be fun.
Be prepared. Chelsea, our fallen Florida Angel, we wish her the best. You can find her on all the porn sites
Yep.
under Chelsea Goes Large, or you can find her at Miss underscore Tenenbaum and Chelsea Nico on everything else. Miss underscore Tenenbaum's on Twitter and Chelsea underscore Nico everything else.
Yeah. Good for her.
Good for her. I'm Bryan Kluger. You can find me on these podcasts. You can find me at Boomstick. For the time being, High Def Digest. And you can find me on the Entertainment Answer radio show, CRN Network, and the Soundtracks radio on Wednesdays, noon till 2. So thank you for listening, My Bloody Podcast. Thank you to Thordur Palsson. His name was Thordur Palsson. Preston, say it with me. His name
Name was
was Thordur
Thordur Palsson.
Paulson. One more time. His
His
name
name
was
was
Thordur
Thordur
Paulson.
Palsson.
There you go.
And then we're gonna
Uh,
find out that's not how you pronounce it at all. He was just being nice.
I really asked him. I wanted to know because allegedly pronounce everybody's name wrong. So, so yeah, we are My Bloody Podcast. Thank you for listening. We'll be back.